Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
I'm MK.
How are you?
I told someone today that being hit by a bus would feel better than how I feel right now. So
That's nice.
we're
That's
doing great.
maybe don't do that though. Just stay inside. It's better that way.
just don't leave your house.
Yes.
I was thinking about going to the gym this morning.
Who are you?
Right. But then I stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning crying instead, which is way more on brand.
Yes, much more on brand. Good choice.
How about you? How are you?
I am hot, so I am channeling my inner darkness for our movie today.
Perfect.
And how mad I am about summer existing. So I'm wearing a nice little movie scarf shawl thing that I got from Alamo Draft House.
Nice.
I'm also trying to be on brand.
What is the temperature where you are?
Oh, it's like 80 degrees, but I haven't, partly my fault, but I'm not taking any blame.
Okay.
The way my apartment is set up, you've seen it.
Yeah.
My heater is on one side and my air is on the other side. So for winter, I have to move my bed away from the heater so I can use it. And in the summer, I have to move my bed and reorganize so I can use my AC. And I haven't done that yet.
Oh.
Because I don't live here. I just sleep here. I'm never here.
Right.
So,
right. It's 83 here, but it feels lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because I'm inside.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of the heat at all. But otherwise I'm okay. I'm making it. I went and I'm just gonna tell you all the disappointing things in this episode, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
I went to birthday candles on Saturday.
Yeah.
And Deborah Messing was not there. I know, how dare. It closed on Sunday, so I went out on Saturday because I was like, yeah, she'll be there. Her name's on the playbill, blah, blah, blah.
Right. It's the last day before you close. What do you mean?
Right. That's what I said.
That is bold, Deborah Messing.
Yeah. So her understudy was fine, but like, even though I know this part originated before she did it, it was there before her. But this part was made for Deborah Messing. Like, it was just an okay show. I did sob for like 20 minutes at the end. It was very sad at the end. But it was just one of those shows that it's like, it's fine when you're watching it. And if Deborah Messing had been there because, like, she is Ernestine, like, they are the same person.
Yeah.
It would have been nice, but that's fine. So, I would say I don't recommend it, but it's closed now, so
it's over. Sorry. I feel like literally everything closed yesterday.
It did. Yes, everything. Mm-hmm.
There is no Broadway.
No Broadway.
Except for, don't worry, Phantom of the Opera is still open.
Yep.
Never going to close.
Phantom of the Opera, Chicago, they're still kicking.
Perfect.
Don't worry. They both have shows tonight.
Perfect. Really? It's a Monday? Oh, yeah, I guess Monday. Oh, Monday's not their night off.
They're off on Wednesdays, I think. Phantom, Chicago.
That is so, I totally get why they're not every theater on Broadway has the same dark night, because then like also people who are in shows can see other shows, and like so that there's always something running for tourists. Like I totally got the logistics of it, but like in my brain, Monday is dark night.
Right.
Except for when Hamilton was here, they had shows on Monday because it was Christmas, and so they like didn't have shows on certain holidays for the Christmas break. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, all of us who work in a touring house theater that always have dark Mondays, we were very, very confused and disjointed and not a fan.
Yeah. It happens. But otherwise, I have some decent things to talk about now.
Good.
First and foremost, our spiritual affirmation today
Which I'm so sorry to those of you who watched on Sunday. We did not have a spiritual affirmation because we also had 45 minutes to record an episode.
We're a mess. We're sorry.
We're good.
That's fine. Well, today, loving is its own reward.
Fuck off.
Look, I don't choose the cards. The cards choose us. I can't.
Love is for suckers. It's stupid. Don't do it. It's a trap.
It's a scam.
Fuck.
But you know, it's not a scam. Probably. Who knows? I don't know everything.
I love it.
The Woman in Black.
The Woman in Black.
Which is phenomenal. I loved it.
I love that movie.
It's really nice.
So I saw the movie. So for context for anyone who hasn't kind of heard it, I saw the movie for the first time in probably right when it came out. So I want to say October 2000. No, it was 2000. Did it come out in 2012?
Yes. So you did not watch it in 2011.
No. I did watch it in 2000. Then I did watch it in 2012, but it wasn't October. It was sometime that I was in New York with Brent, but I don't remember which of the trips to see him that was. But I know it was before summer of 2012. So it had to have been
February. So it could have been any time.
Yeah. So it was I probably saw it like during my spring break. So that would have been like March or April of 2012, which makes sense because the movie was very new when I saw it. So that was the first time I saw it. And then when I was in London in July of 2012, which is why I know the movie I had to see it first because I know I was in London in July of 2012. I got student rush tickets and got front row seats for the play, which at the time was the longest still running play in the West End. I don't remember if it ever actually beat The Mousetrap. But the Mousetrap wasn't running anymore when I was there. So this was the longest currently running show in the West End. And it fucked me all the way up to see it on stage. Then in 2016, I convinced my little squad of my brother and all his friends to watch it with me because I was like, I won't be scared. I've totally already seen this one before. I know what it is. And like, George was cuddling on the couch with the girl he was talking to at the time, and then Joe was cuddling on the couch with two of our other girlfriends. And so this kid Liam was the only one who didn't have anyone to cuddle with. And I was like, it's okay, Liam, I got you. So I'm cuddling on the couch with this 18-year-old kid who like, whatever. I love Liam. Hi, Liam, I miss you. But then, of course, I was the biggest bitch in the room, despite the fact that I was the only one who saw the movie before we watched it, of course.
Makes sense.
And then in February this year, I took Courtney to see the stage version redone for the McKittrick Hotel. And then, obviously, I watched it again this week. And the third time's a charm because I didn't jump when I watched the movie this time.
Excellent. Excellent. On that note, I'll give you a little rundown of all of the things, dates and whatnot, when this started. This all started from a book, as all the best things in the world do.
Absolutely.
Written by Susan Hill, who I have never read anything of hers before, and I would like to read more now. Yeah, I did read the book. I finished it Saturday when I got off of work at 1 a.m. And it was excellent. It was very short. It's 160 pages.
I was gonna say it's not a long book.
Yeah, very short. It is almost like they handed the book to someone on stage and said, just read this in front of people.
Which I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that the play is very, very close. It's
word for word a lot of the time. It is. There are very few things different in the play and the book. Like
I was going to say, I think Susan Hill might be credited as the playwright for the play.
Yes.
Okay.
She has her hand in everything. Everything that happens, she's a part of.
Yes.
Good for her.
Yeah. Which I'm glad because the movie is very different.
Yes.
So I'm glad that she was still a part of it.
Yes. There are, when I did not know, 2 movies. Not first and second, 2 original movies.
Yes. There is also a sequel to this one that I've never seen.
Yes.
But there are 2 original movies. Yes.
So the original movie that came out, so first the play came out in 1988. The book came out in 1983. So pretty quick turnaround.
Nice.
Shockingly. I'm telling you, this woman, she's a dream. Then the movie came out a year later, and as should be, came out on Christmas Eve of 1989 because someone knows how to market.
Yes.
And it was made for TV, so I have not seen it because I did not know it existed. But
who is in that one?
I will tell you in the future.
Oh, okay.
do not look it up.
Okay.
In the future. And then our movie came out on February 3rd of 2012. And then the second movie came out in 2014.
And the only thing I know about the second movie, because I never watched it, was that oh God, what is her name? I feel so bad because she's dead now and I love her.
I know nothing.
The woman who plays Narcissa Malfoy and I can't remember her name, but I know she's dead because one of the tributes in the Harry Potter special to her like fucked me all the way up. She was the lead in the second movie. And I because I remember I posted this whole long thing on Twitter about how like I was in front row for the play and I've met Daniel Radcliffe and she was in it and I'm in Slytherin. So like basically I need to be in the next movie. Like I had this whole like Charlie Day scatter plot of why I was connected to this play on Twitter one time.
I like it. So now to kick things off, this movie was rated incorrectly 6.4 out of 10.
People did not like this movie and I don't know why.
The Metacritic score is 62. I don't know. I have no answers for you. No answers. The only thing I could find when I was trying to look up critic stuff is they said that the characters were underdeveloped, but they said the storyline and the production and everything was amazing. I'm like, why did you rate it so low then? Like the characters weren't. I mean,
the characters there was. I don't think the characters were underdeveloped because I think the only characters that it matters are Arthur, Sam, and the woman.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of the 3 of them were underdeveloped.
I agree. And I think the characters are milder because it's such a subtle horror film.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that must be what's wrong with people. That's what
they don't appreciate subtlety.
Right.
Which is true based on the fact that Final Destination movies and Saw movies have higher ratings than things like this.
Look, I also love the Final Destination movies. But
the Final Destination movies could never be called subtle.
No, that is right. That is not a word I would ever use to describe them. And I think this movie is better written, better storyline. But I do like the Final Destination movies.
That was not really a jab at those movies. It was a jab at the way we interpret horror.
Just people as a whole.
Yeah.
Yes, fair. The number 1 song, which adds up, is We Found Love by Rihanna.
Yep. That's accurate.
That's right. The number 1 movie is Chronicle, which means nothing to me.
It's a
sci-fi movie. Sci-fi-esque. I don't think it's like true sci-fi.
Was that? No, now I'm thinking of Riddick, which is not the same thing. Okay. Nope.
Those are cool movies. I do not know anything else about this one. I looked it up and I still do not know.
I was like an adult in 2012 though. Like, how did I not know this movie? Like, you know what I mean? How was something a number 1 movie and nothing?
Nothing. I have no idea. But yeah, so on this day, only sad things happened. So I pulled out pop culture references to tell you about instead.
Fantastic.
Rage comics had become popular. If you recall. Those were fine. And then the Bad Luck Brian meme was very popular at this time.
Oh.
This is the time it became
popular.
And last but certainly not least, our new phrase has arisen of YOLO.
Oh.
this is the time we're living in. This is our world. This is why this movie didn't do well.
Right. Right. So, that explains everything.
Yes.
We were not prepared for this as a culture.
No, we were not. So this is college for me and MK, and the world being ridiculous. So
yeah, this was I was 19. It was about a month before my 20th birthday. I was probably intoxicated for the entire month that this movie was in the theater.
I was, I think, in my first year of, what year is this? 2012. Yeah, I graduated 2011. So I was in the second semester, or probably the third quarter of my first year as a music major. And I didn't know what life was outside of the music building because
I was in my second semester as a sophomore theater major, which means I was intoxicated all of the time.
Yeah, I was probably sleeping in the band room because I was just on campus from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Nope. I think this would be the semester that I was high for the entire semester.
Excellent.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Cool.
It was cool. And living in my car.
Just drugs and alcohol.
I had to drive 45 minutes back both ways. And
I lived on campus.
Had 1,000 classes a day. So I was not drinking because I was driving.
So that's good. Good life choices.
If I was drinking, I was staying in Reston, which was not many nights.
Honestly, I feel bad for everyone who didn't live on campus in college because I don't feel like you actually went to college if you didn't live on campus and just like fuck your life up.
But everything was so close in Reston that like, I mean, I didn't live on campus, but I moved in with one of my music major friends starting out sophomore year, and then I didn't live at home again until the Christmas before I moved here. But yeah, so the director is James Watkins. I have not seen anything he has done, but he has had very popular films such as Eden Lake, Bastille Day, and McMafia.
I have seen none of those.
He had some other stuff, but I haven't seen any of them. I like him, I guess, from this one thing I've seen him of.
I mean, this honestly, I don't care what the rating was. I think this movie is brilliant.
I agree. I think it was so well done. And we'll get into it.
And there's so much subtlety. Like, and there are things that I noticed for the first time this time, for the third time I watched the movie.
So much. I was like, can I take a note of this second? Because I need to stare at the screen.
Well, I usually, when we do movies, I don't take running notes the same way I do with the TV episodes, but I did for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Not as many as I normally do for a TV show because I just was trying to like bullet my thoughts, but like I did it as running notes because I was like, there's just so much.
There's too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next I would like to mention Susan Hill, who wrote the novel. All of these people are from the UK. I think they're all from England specifically. But I don't have a lot to say about her because her life has revolved around this franchise. She has been involved in everything that's come out. She's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll read you a quote from her about writing because it's how I feel about writing.
Oh, good. Good.
She says, one of the nicest parts of being a writer is going to bed with a cup of cocoa or wine, a notebook, the telephone directory, and a dictionary of quotations. You can pretend to be working by looking for names for your characters or quotations for the title of your book. And I was like, if that doesn't explain how I write, where I just pretend like I'm writing by staring off into space or just have things nearby, hoping that it will encourage me to write.
See, I love that because I wish that I was that kind of writer, but I'm the manic writer who I will write a novel in one sitting and then not write again for 9 months.
Yeah, I have to force myself to sit down a lot, but once I do, I'm just all over the place. And I usually do have a hot beverage or a wine.
I love that.
So love her. The screenplay was written by Jane Goldman, who was not the first choice, but I thought was an excellent choice. She is known for Kick-Ass, the Kingsman movie from 2014, and Stardust.
Okay.
I've not seen any of them.
Stardust
Yes.
is one of the most underrated movies of all time. Every time I hear something about Stardust, I just light up. That movie is so, so good. It's weird and it's like strange, and I would never put it in like top 20 best made films, but it is so underrated. It is so cute. It's about this girl who like is a star and she falls to the planet, and then and then the guy has to take her back to where she can go back to be a star, but then they fall in love, and it is adorable.
I will watch it one day.
I have it on DVD if you want to just come here and hang out.
Okay, I'll be there eventually.
Perfect.
I know her screenplays from.
Wait, also, you've never seen Kick-Ass?
I've not seen any of these movies, no.
Interesting.
But when they came out, I remember them existing.
Yeah, no, Kick-Ass. I feel like you would like Kick-Ass.
I think I would.
It's weird.
Yeah, I think I would like it. Sounds up my alley. But I know her from Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And she wrote the screenplay for various X-Men films, including Days of Future Past and that whole section of them. So yes, Jane Goldman, she's a winner in my book.
Yeah.
And now we'll start with, of course, Daniel Radcliffe. We all know him. We all love him.
I've met him.
I am jealous, and I knew that. But I'm telling you fun facts about him.
Okay.
Planning his movie career because we all know it.
Yeah.
So, I know I've mentioned this before, but I love to tie it back to Bates. Sue Lattimore is his agent, who is Freddie Highmore's mother, in case you've forgotten.
Oh, that's right. I did forget that.
Get back to Bates. The child who plays his son in Woman in Black is his godson in real life, and he chose him for the role.
I did know that, actually.
Well, I need you to stop knowing things.
Sorry, no, that one is like I never would have been able to pull that out of my ass right now, but I've definitely known that at some point.
But you don't know.
Okay.
He received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on my birthday.
Oh, I did not know that. I knew he had a star. I didn't know that he received it on your birthday.
I didn't either. Here is one of my favorite facts from the whole thing. The movie Woman in Black, 1989, was originally performed, the role of Arthur Kip was originally performed by Adrian Rollins. Do you know who he is?
No, I know that name, but I don't know that name.
He plays the father of Harry Potter. He is James Potter.
Oh, shit, I did know that because James Potter, and then he was in that one, and then Narcissa is in the third one, and so I was like, it's just a Harry Potter family fuckery.
So his dad played the 1989 role, and he played the 2012 role.
I love that.
I also love that. It made me so happy when I learned about that.
Also, speaking of weird Harry Potter connections, I have met Daniel Radcliffe when he was on How to Succeed in Broadway, or in Business School or Shine on Broadway. Also, in 2012 in London, I met this man who played Henry V at the Globe Theatre because we went to see Henry V in the Globe. And then when Harry Potter and the Cursed Child came out, that man was cast as Harry Potter for the original London cast. So I have met
all of the Harry Potters.
All the Harry Potters, except for the American one who we're questioning whether he was a good person or not. But like the British, all the British Harry Potters, I have met.
That's probably best. Just stick with all the British Harry Potters. They're better.
Yes.
So now I'm going to give you a couple of more facts about a couple of the bigger roles. Janet McTeer plays Mrs. Daly, who I loved so much. I have seen a couple of things she's in. She's known for Me Before You, Allegiant, Ozark, which I have not seen yet, but everyone keeps telling me to watch.
I need to see it because the main actor was my favorite character on a soap opera that I used to watch as a preteen and was my first like serious crush as a preteen. And
Are you talking about Jason Bateman?
No, Tom Pelphrey. He's not the main guy, but he's one of the main. No, he's one of the main guys, especially in season 3. His arc is like the big one. Tom Pelphrey is in Ozark.
Very weird choice for how to describe Jason Bateman, if that's
no. Tom Pelphrey, who is not as well known, but played Jonathan Randall in Guiding Light.
Oh, nice. She's also been on Jessica Jones.
Yes.
Which I have only seen the first season, but I loved. So I will definitely watch the rest of it Monday. And then the last person I'm going to speak of, last but certainly not least, is Kieran Hines, who plays Sam Daly. This guy.
I love Kieran Hines.
His 2 roles that I've decided to choose are naturally Aberforth Dumbledore from Harry Potter.
Absolutely.
And Pappy from Frozen 2.
Only the second one?
He's in the first one too, but it just listed Frozen 2 first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You did not talk about her.
The woman?
Yes, but I wanted to say something because I was looking at her when I watched the movie, and I remembered seeing something that made me want to say it, but now I cannot remember. She is listed very far down in the credits.
Yes, she is.
But her name is Liz White.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I forget how to use the IMDb app.
I was going to keep with the spirit and not mention her, but I guess it's okay if we talk about her.
I mean, at this point, what was I going to say? What did she?
She was in a couple things I'd seen.
She was in an episode of Doctor Who. And I didn't realize. I mean, I've seen this movie how many times, and I didn't realize until yesterday. I go, oh shit, yeah, she was. Okay.
Yep.
I appreciate that as an actor, she was still credited in the movie, but her credit is not the woman.
I know. It's Jeanette.
It's Jeanette, and it's way far down in the list of credits. And I was like, I love that, because for those of you who have never seen the stage show, the woman is not credited at all.
There's no mention.
No mention of her at all.
A fun fact about the woman, she does not do all of the scenes, because in the scene where Daniel Radcliffe is falling asleep in the chair in the study, and that black mist comes up over him, was actually his girlfriend at the time, Rosie Coker, I think was her last name.
Okay.
Yeah, fun fact. I stumbled upon that and I was like, that's weird.
That is weird.
So now let's do it.
Okay.
This film starts out as any creepy film should, I guess, with 3 small children and creepy music and toys and dolls.
My note says creepy ginger kids with dolls is a solid start to any horror movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And naturally, they all leap out of the window.
Now,
Actually,
did you see the woman in the room?
Not in the beginning.
Okay. So this time that I saw the movie was the first time that I realized that you could see her in the room in the opening scene. The first 2 times I did not notice it. And this time I go, holy shit, she's there.
She's always there. Even when you can't see her, she's there. I also thought this was a fun is a word, I guess, choice. Because 3 in many religions is the defined number. And so naturally, that's what we should use for horror.
Absolutely. I love it.
Let's put cool, they all die.
Yes.
And then we go into subtle visions of a wedding, which was an interesting choice. I don't know that I would have placed this here. I don't know that it was necessary, but it was nice visually.
It was nice visually, and I think that it people like to say that there's no character development. I think those flashbacks are everything you need to know about Arthur's character.
Of course, yeah. I mean,
like that is his character development. Like, is it the best way you could have done it? Probably not, but it's the flashbacks and the combination of the wedding and the happy and then the sad and then the way that they used the white and the black against each other, like that's everything you need to know about his character.
Absolutely.
As an art piece.
Him face forward, it looks like he's about to kill himself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like getting chills thinking about how this was shot because it was so.
I genuinely was like, I don't think I've ever seen Daniel in a movie where he wasn't playing a sad sack piece of shit though. Like,
I have. He did the TV show. It was a TV show, not a movie.
Oh, okay.
So, oh shoot, what was it called? It's on.
Oh, the one where he's dancing as a prostitute. Not really, but he's in the bar.
No.
Oh,
no,
the Miracle Worker.
The Miracle Worker.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That was. I mean, obviously I've seen him on Broadway not being sad, but like his movie roles like this and the Harry Potter and Horns and like he just plays really depressed, lonely men really, really well.
Which is very sad for him, even though he seems to have a very happy life.
But it was also really sad for me because seeing the fact that Arthur was a functioning alcoholic in that first opening scene was really heartbreaking when you know that Daniel Radcliffe was a functioning alcoholic for the last half of the Harry Potter series.
Yeah, I think it was still, maybe it was 2010 when he cleaned up.
It was because he was already sober when I saw him on Broadway.
Okay.
Which was in 2011.
Okay. That's what it was. I was trying to remember. I was like, I know.
Yeah. But I mean, there are times in the last two Harry Potter movies where his face is devoid of emotion because he was too drunk to film.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, I mean, I'm telling you, like 10 minutes into this film and everything has been like, your heart's been broken. There's been dark light. It's just, I don't understand the critics.
They are wrong.
They're wrong.
Yes.
So speaking of sadness, yes.
This was the first time I had a question.
Okay.
For you.
Okay.
Because I was curious about the book. I didn't realize how close the book was to the play. And I don't remember his dead wife being mentioned at all.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Yes, this is where we get our first sense of completely abandoning part of the storyline from the book. I'm going to tell you the next scene and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So he walks out and there's the woman who I thought was Stella at the time, who's not, she's the nanny, who is not in the book or stage play. And his son is there and he is drawing a picture of him and he just draws him sad and he draws mommy in heaven and he's like, why did you draw me sad? And he's like, because that's your face. I'm
that's
like,
what your face looks like. I was like, all of the tears.
This is our first deviation that kind of sets me on a track of like, I kind of wish it stuck closer to the book for the ending. I get why it didn't.
Yeah.
He does not have a son at this point in time in the book or the film. Stella is his wife who he's married to in the book and film, but we don't see her. I mean, the book is not stage play, but we don't see her because she's back home and he's going to London and he's telling it as a memory.
Right. Okay. So the book is basically the same format of the play where he's talking about the stuff that has already happened to him.
It is. I'm telling you, it is almost identical.
Okay.
The difference is in the play, he's telling it as a play to this group of people. And in the book, he's telling it as a Christmas Eve story to his family. That is
but in the beginning of the play, he talks about how he wants to tell his family this story. And then the guy's like helping him not tell it like a loser. That's how it becomes a play. So it's
pretty much.
Okay. So, cause I, obviously the character Arthur Kipps in the book and play has kids.
Yeah. I don't want to discuss the end until we
No, I won't, but he has kids because the story doesn't make sense, truthfully, if he has no kids, because of what the woman stands for.
Well, he didn't have kids when he went
at the time he didn't have kids, but like his character and the still carrying the trauma doesn't make sense if he doesn't have kids.
Yeah. So he did have a son but his son was not born. He didn't even Stella wasn't even pregnant until he got back from Ilmarsh.
Okay.
The ending of the play and the book is 6 years after he's been at Ilmarsh, whereas this is like leaving Ilmarsh.
Yeah.
So
I think in general, the movie went way more into the children aspect of it, which I liked as a movie. It wouldn't have made sense in the play. So but I also don't think that the play, while scary, would have been enough content for a whole movie. So I liked that what they added to the movie was consistent to the characters, didn't deviate from the story, but still made it just that little bit scarier that you need in a movie.
I was okay with that part of the story. Yeah. It's like one subtle thing that I was like, man, I wish this would have happened instead. But I get it.
Once you got to the end, then you were like, oh, okay.
No, at the end, I was like, oh, one thing was missing. But yeah, I'll get to it.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's where I was going to talk about that. So now we are off to Alice Travelers. He talked to
his boss
and everything, and he's kind of a jerk, but whatever. He did not come off as much of a jerk in the book or the play.
No.
I don't know if he talked much in the book as much as he did in the play, or as much as we saw about him in the play.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have I said off to Alice Travelers, and I said, JK, quick flashback. And we have this quick flashback to Stella screaming. And it is very sad because we find out she has died in childbirth. And that's when I realized that this woman was the actual like nanny. I couldn't decide where the order of things went for a minute.
Right.
I was trying to place it with the book and the play, and then I was like, oh, duh. Yes, Nanny's still around. She is stuck around. Yeah, so then we are on the train going to Ilmarsh, and we meet Daly for the first time, and Sweet Spider, the pup.
Oh, yes.
Precious.
I love that it's the same kind of dog that it is in the play.
They did very well at sticking to the things they stuck to. Like,
yeah,
if they weren't
like, we're not quite there yet, but one thing that is so stupid, but it like made me so happy, is that the sound of Keckwick's carriage is the same as the play. Like, that's a dumb thing to like have continuity with, but it was perfect.
It's so stunningly written and produced. So I did tell him maybe he should not talk to strangers, because he just so casually is talking to Daly, and he's like, can I give you a ride? He's like, sure, I'll take a ride from this person I've never met in this place I've never been. Like, PSA, do not get in cars with strangers.
I just listened to a podcast about hitchhiking murders last night, so like, yes, definitely don't do that.
Truly. So we do like Sam Daly, but we are not advocating, at least I like Sam Daly, but I'm not advocating.
Right.
So we make it to Gifford Inn, and this is the next big difference I saw from the book and stage play. I guess it wasn't as strong in the stage play, but in the book, this was pretty big. Gifford is a jerk to him. He is mad he's there. He's sending him home. He's like, you can't be here. He's not going to find him a like place to stay.
Yeah.
Whereas, in the book and everything, he welcomes him. He gets him set up, and he's like, stay here,
I think they made Gifford's wife that character instead. Like, Mrs. Gifford in the movie was the one who was like, no, it's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so in the book, everything was fine. It was very, very copacetic. They weren't like trying to run him off, because it doesn't deep dive into children the same way.
Right. I was going to say, because the anger that Mr. Gifford has doesn't exist in the book in the same way, because you didn't watch his 3 children throw themselves out a window.
Because they didn't in the book.
Right.
Right. These people didn't have children referenced in the book, or if they did, they were still alive.
Right. So it's a different atmosphere.
But I understand why that choice was made for the movie, and I do like it for the movie.
Yeah.
I think
I did have a thought that was not really a criticism of this movie, but of horror movies in general.
Mhm.
And I wonder why everyone in horror movies is always fucking weird. Like, why can't you just go to a town and everyone acts perfectly normal and then you still die? Like, why does everyone have to sort of be weird and make you aware that you're going to get murdered? Like,
horror movies are meant to be fictionalized, and they don't want to. It's supposed to be an escape still, even though it's supposed to be horror.
right.
Don't want to address real life.
You don't want to address the fact that in real life, everything's fine and then you're murdered.
I truly think that's why they do it, because it is meant to be an escape.
Because
And
everyone in this town was just so fucking weird right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, right off the bat. This poor kid comes in here to do work, has no idea, doesn't know any of the rumors, doesn't know any of the history, has barely made a dent in the paperwork, and they're just like, get the fuck out of here. And he's like, whoa.
he's a lowly solicitor just trying to get to a house and get some paperwork.
Right.
That's all he wants. It is wild. So they put him in the attic because
And I wrote, yay, creepy triple suicide room.
correct. You don't know how I would have approached it that way. You are not incorrect. There's a doll without a head, and lots of creepy toys around him. There's a creepy bird. And we learn, and then we like realize that, oh, so we don't yet. This was my mental comment. Sorry. I'll come back to that. At this point, we don't know why everyone in town is mad at him. We just think they're crazy.
And at this point, when you see that that's the room that they're in, that he's in, you obviously know that the Giffords have some trauma, but like you don't quite get what he has to do with it.
Right. Like why he's at fault here when he showed up to this town for the first time.
Yeah.
And then we meet Jerome, who, again, in the book and play, becomes basically his right-hand man to get everything done. He tells him, he takes him to the funeral, he tells him everything. This guy doesn't want.
No, yes. But Jerome is still not even in the play, he's still like, he takes him to the funeral, but he won't go to the house and he won't help him with the paperwork. He's still weird.
He's still weird, but he doesn't act like he hates him and tries to send him home. He's just like, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be doing any of that. And I believe Jerome is the one in the book and play who gave him Spider to use.
No, it's still Daily.
Was it still Daily? Okay.
It's still Daily. That because I have a note about the fact that I'm impressed at the fact that all of the characters are who they're supposed to be. Like Cackwick, Daily, Jerome, like it's all the same names, it's all the same characters, and like there are slight differences to fit this storyline, but everyone is still, it's not like sometimes you have books that then like when you come a movie, you like merge two characters together for some reason, or you like give this character's like plot. And this did not do that. All of the characters were still the same people and motivations as they were in the play.
We're looking at you, Riverdale. Sorry.
Bless you.
So everyone's running him off at this point, and he's like, go outside. Keckwick's taking you back to the train station now. I've paid him. Just go get in his trolley thing. What is it called?
Carriage.
Carriage.
I don't know if they use a different word for it, but
I think they called it like something else, but carriage is what it is. And he's taking you back to the train station. So he goes out and he's trying to, he's like, he was like, change of plans. We're going to El Marsh. He's like, no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
And he's like, he was like, I've already been paid to take you to the train. And he's like, well, I'll pay you. And he like pulls out a coin. And then he's like, I'll take 6 shillings. I meant to look up how money translates. I have no idea.
I don't remember because they don't use shilling anymore.
Right.
In London, they use pound, but they still use pence. So pence is like a penny, and then a shilling is like $1, but it's not. So like 6 shilling would be like £6, but like not. I mean, £6 now is like $12 US, but obviously we're talking the early 19th century.
Right.
So that's not quite what it would be. But yeah, it's like $10.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm glad you have a sense of money because I don't.
I have been to England and had to spend money there. So that's the only reason I'm good with that.
Fair. And then we have the carriage ride that takes us to Il Marsh, and it is oddly reminiscent of the stage show. Like it was so similar. I mean, they sat in the same order. They sat in the same like way. The carriage moved in the same way, the same sounds. It was incredible. It was so well done.
Oh, good.
And I want every critic that hated this movie to read the book and go see the stage play and then rewatch this movie and come talk to me.
Right.
I will leave my phone on 24/7. I don't care where you live. You can call me and I will tell you you're wrong.
And anyone who hated this movie, you're wrong. But also, I would love to hear your actual reasons why you hated it, because clearly we have an opinion, but our opinion is also based on a lot of experience with it. So like if you only saw the movie and had no idea that it was connected to anything else, I would love to hear your take.
Yes. I did try to watch this movie fresh. Like I read the book, I saw the play, so like I know the storyline.
Yeah.
But I tried to look at it with like an open like view or whatever. And I think I still would have liked it even if I'd only seen the movie.
Well, I saw the movie first and I loved it. And I liked the movie enough to then want to see the play. And then obviously the play changed my life, but like I liked the movie enough to be like, that is a play I would see. And I don't like horror.
Right.
So like
I think that's probably a lot to do with it, is it again the subtleness. It wasn't in your face horror that people are like, I'm gonna go watch it. And I'm like, no thanks.
No.
I'm gonna go watch M. Night Shyamalan. And
also we might be the only two people who love M. Night Shyamalan on the planet. So like there's that.
We're not, but still. We're still right.
Correct.
And it's our podcast, so we can say that. We get to make all the rules here.
Facts.
So then we show up at Il Marsh, which like is a name. It's a choice.
It is a choice. When he first gets there and he's walking around though, I just said, I am far too jumpy a motherfucker for this. I would be gone swimming back at the first noise. Like absolutely, I could not.
I wouldn't even make it that far. He walked in and I couldn't tell, but it looked like there was like an animal hanging from the ceiling. I don't know if it was fabric or something.
I think it was just the chandelier had like a covering on it.
It was like long and skinny. It was like a dead rabbit.
Oh, I did not see that. I believe you, but I did not see that.
I don't think that's what it was, but that's what it looked like.
Oh, okay. I was like, I just saw the chandelier and the creepy paintings.
Oh, yes. Those were also terrifying. And then this is the first time we know we actually see the woman. And it is terrifying. Like,
oh, wait.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to... I have a lot of notes before I wrote first spooky bitch sighting. So I'm trying to figure out what they were. The room that he has to work in absolutely has the Haunted Mansion wallpaper. That was my note.
Oh, yeah.
It isn't exactly, but it's that dark purple with like the bat. I was like, that is absolutely the Haunted Mansion. Oh, and then birds in a fireplace. Not a shocking thing at all. Not surprising. Happens in my fireplace. Mm-hmm. The fact that it was a full-grown raven really tripped me out.
Yes.
I was like, that bird is too big to be coming out of that fireplace like that. I would have shit myself right there.
Yes. Well, raven is death.
Yes.
So
they're only my favorite bird. It's fine.
Adds up. Yeah. So he sees her, and it is like sent chills. And the thing about it is, it's still daytime. She is not touching him. She is not near him.
She's out the window.
She is outside. And I still got chills when I saw her. Like, that's how terrifying this movie is. Like, it's sticking with me. Like,
Yeah.
I was able to sleep, thankfully, but it was so rough.
I wasn't. The first time I watched it, I was not able to sleep that night.
I believe that. I believe that a lot.
I also, the third time that I watched it, this last time that I watched it, is the only time I watched it during daylight, which probably had a lot to do with how I felt.
I was going to say I did watch it at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. So,
yeah. So it does change that.
I mean, I had chills and it was daylight here and in the film. So, like,
right.
Like, it was definitely, like, did something. And then we start seeing the death papers, which in the book and stage show are revealed much later what they say. But I like that they introduced it early on because it does add to the story.
Well, but this time we only see Nathaniel's. We don't see Janet's yet.
Yeah, so we see Nathaniel's. We see that a small boy has died and his body has not been recovered. And I just put, truly everything in this house looks terrifying. Even, I mean, another divinity, I guess, is the 3 monkeys that were found in the closet.
Yeah. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
And they're considered the golden rule. And they're covered in dust and hidden away in a cupboard. So if that doesn't say something.
Facts.
So also you see this house is like so covered in dust and everything. And I was like, she has been dead a month, not a century. So she was living in the house this way, which is super creepy, which makes me think she did not go in her house. She was just in one area.
Well, here's the other thing. She's been found dead a month.
Yeah.
How long ago did she actually die? Because nobody went out there to see her.
Well, she wasn't decomposed or anything. So, like,
well, they don't really touch on that in the movie as much.
Yeah, I would think if her house was found like this, she would have had to have been decomposed at least some.
Yeah. I definitely get Miss Havisham vibes.
I know that name.
Great Expectations.
I didn't read that one.
Oh, it's my favorite book of all time ever, so that's rude. No, but Miss Havisham is a character in the book who gets left on her wedding night and then never, ever, ever gets rid of it. Like, she's still living in her wedding dress with her rotting, moldy wedding cake on the table. Like, she, like, never leaves that night.
That feels right.
Yeah.
Yep. I do want to read that book now. So this is also where the thudding begins, which is creepy all of the time.
All of the time.
All the time. No matter if you're seeing it in the stage play, if you're reading it, if you're watching the movie, it's creepy every time. And we also start seeing sightings of the woman subtly. I don't know if you caught her in this next scene, but you could see like half of her in the bathroom when he's like panning by.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the first time I was like, oh my gosh, I have to really pay attention because she's just going to show up all the time.
All the time.
And it was so scary. But I don't like dead women in bathrooms. They have creepy vibes like The Shining.
Yeah.
And so that's all I could think about was the creepy woman in the bathroom in The Shining. What does that word say? I'm so sorry. I don't know. Okay, so this is the baby bird scene. You jumped ahead of it.
I did, but that's because she wasn't. No, because the raven was happening at the same time as he saw her.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Oh, that's not the first time he saw her then. We saw her another time.
Well, we see her, but the first time he's for sure that he sees her. Like, he thinks he's seeing things, but the first time that he is for sure that he saw her was when the raven was in the fireplace.
The first time we see her, I think, is in the mirror. That's what I put. The first time we see her.
Oh, sorry. Yes. The first time, because we see her in bits and pieces, the first time he is sure that he saw another person is when the raven happens.
So that's why it was so terrifying in the first two, because it was like in a mirror or something. It's like a quick flash, and it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Da, 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 da. We talked about this. Oh, and I put, the horse and screams. Because that is the next thing we hear after he sees the woman and she disappears. And that is very creepy. And so he hears the horse and buggy and the screaming child and the screaming woman, and he like runs outside of the fog, which was also an excellent scene.
It is excellent. It's also pretty spot on for the audio from the play.
Yes, it is. It is. I would not be surprised if they used like,
at least for this version of the play, they might have just used the audio straight from the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
For the play that happened before, obviously, no. But for this retelling of the play, they could have just used the audio straight from the movie.
Yeah. And he's wandering around trying to figure out what's going on. And Keckwick creepily appears in the fog. I was like, why are you being so creepy? Like, I know it's like to play up because he's not actually being creepy.
Right.
Quiet and stoic and like just comes and goes when he needs to. But the way that they portrayed him was so creepy. I was like, okay, he's not that creepy. This is just a creepy scene.
I'm trying. Oh, at one point during all of this, while he was walking around the house, I said that I liked the audio in the play better, actually. Because I didn't feel like it was as anxiety inducing in the movie, but that's because then they do that much more later.
Right. Yes. I agree. That's why I didn't mention it at the beginning. So I was like, this wasn't something hardcore. And now we're back at Gifford Inn, and he's hoping to stay in this creepy attic room for like 4 more days. And and he's talking to Jerome about the kid who was never found. And then we hear these kids yelling, and this tiny child has just drunk lye. I just put one down.
This was where I was like, the play definitely did not go into all the dying children. That was
not, because it turns out when you see the woman, a child dies. And that is where the story goes. Unfortunately, no one told Arthur this.
No.
They're just like, we hate you, leave. Now you haven't, we hate you more because you've killed children. And he's like, I have no idea what you're saying.
Correct.
And he, of course, sees the child die and everything. And this is the first point. If you hadn't read the book, if you hadn't seen the play, I feel like this is the first moment you would start to understand what was happening. I don't know if that's true.
You definitely, yeah, I'm trying to remember back to the first time I saw it and how the kids thing. Because the first time I saw it, I didn't see the woman in the opening scene. I knew that there was something fucking weird about kids in this town, but I didn't necessarily know the connection to the woman. Like the why didn't make sense. The what was happening made sense, but the why didn't make sense yet.
Yeah, so I thought that it seemed a little more inclusive, because I put, this makes more sense why they hate him so much, because everyone goes inside and drags their kids in and looks at it, and I was like, okay.
Oh no, why the people thought, but like, so I knew that there was something to do with the house and the kids, and like, but the why it was happening or the how it was happening still didn't make sense.
Yeah, but I was
well, why the adults hated him, yes, this made sense at this point.
That's what started clicking. I was like, this is the moment where it's like, oh,
right,
this is why they hate him.
Yes.
And then, yeah, so then he goes back inside and we hear a woman sobbing. Turns out it is a bird that's staying in the attic with him. And he's now been invited to the Dailies for dinner. And we learned that their child has also died. And I said, cool, everyone's kid died. Yes. Why don't they just leave town? Like, it wouldn't have mattered. But
Right.
I'm like, why didn't they just leave? And we see Miss Staley is trying to, like, she's got these dogs that she's treating as her babies. And she's just casually talking about her son dying and then how he likes to sketch. And
I was
then,
like, holy balls, I forgot how crazy she was. Like, that's one of the things I forgot because it isn't part of the plot in the
right.
other versions. I forgot that she was just batshit crazy.
Yeah. And she starts, like, quote unquote, channeling her son and, like, losing it. And I was like, so, like, I don't blame her per se. Like, she knows she can't have any more kids or they're going to die. And her one kid that she had did die tragically. And so, like, I get it. And then he's like, get the medication. And he put this rag over her face, and I just went, wait.
He chloroformed that bitch. He
I was like,
chloroformed that bitch so hard.
chloroform? Because I don't think so. But also, this is when they, like, probably put cocaine and coke still. So, like, probably.
Yeah.
You know, probably normal.
I mean, when people were gonna pass out, you just put smelling salts under their nose. Like that's the era we're at.
Right. So good times, drugs. And then I also made a comment here. We see Arthur Kip going through, like, some, like, papers with his son and everything, thinking about his son. And I was like, Daniel Radcliffe still looks really young in this scene. Like, it's so surprising to me that he's playing a husband and father, because this is also the first film he did after Harry Potter.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, he's what, like 22, 23 at this time?
Yeah.
He's not like a child, but like,
yeah, because the first Harry Potter movie came out in 2001.
he was 11 when it came out because he started with the film franchise.
Yeah. But I mean, well, he was 11 when it filmed. He wasn't necessarily 11 when it came out. So even let's say he was 12 when the movie came out in 2001, that means that in 2012 he's 23.
Yeah. So he looked, I was like, this was kind of a strange choice for this film, although I thought he did an excellent job, and I like that it has all the connections that it does with the other movies and stuff. So I didn't think it was a terrible connection. I mean, I didn't think it was like a terrible choice. I just thought it was a strange choice.
The thing that was the strangest choice for me was how they did his hair to make him look older.
Yeah.
That was a choice.
That was a choice, for sure.
So he's walking around the house, and this was where I got upset the first time. You know how everybody's always like, if I was in a horror movie, I would not fucking stay. He was walking around the house, and then he goes back down to the dining room and sees the image that she carved into the table, and it's an image of him hanging. And I was like, I would not spend the night in a house where this lady just carved my death into the dining room table.
Right. And he's walking by while she's cooing at her dogs in their cradles. It's like, I mean, I have a dog and I love her dearly. I'm not putting her in a cradle or singing her to sleep. I'm not treating her like a child. No, it's not. Even if she acts like a toddler sometimes. But I mean, again, I feel bad for her. Like, it's not.
Oh, no. I don't think she's. Here's the thing. Real life, like, that is a trauma that I could not even imagine. Plus the supernaturalness of it all. Like, she has every right to be batshit crazy. Yeah. But as a viewer rooting for the protagonist of a film, get the fuck out of there.
Absolutely. And another thing I want to bring up. So he's going back to the town and everyone's like hiding from him. And I was like, I understand you're not thrilled he's there because he's bringing about this trauma. But also, why are you hiding from him? Because no matter what you do, this is going to be fate. Like, you could just stare at him for 10 days and it would change. Nothing would change. Like,
they don't know that. Like, because he's the one who saw the woman, not them. So, like, it's kids that he's in contact with. So they're trying to protect their kids.
Yeah. So it's like, okay. But then we go downstairs. He's trying to find Jerome. And he goes down in his house, and there's a locked basement door with someone behind it. And it turns out he has been keeping his child locked away in there.
I was like, that's one way to keep your kids safe.
or not, but it's very creepy. And that poor child.
Well, we find out later that he had another child who already died. So this was like reactionary.
So then we're going back to Illinois. She's trying to get Daly to take him there.
Yeah.
They come up on this mob and they are like, you can't ever go back. You're killing our kids. And he's like, what is going on? He's like, I have not killed anyone. I don't know. Everyone's yelling at me. And Daly ends up telling him what's been going on. And he says he doesn't believe in it. He's like, I'm taking you because you have a job to do. I don't believe any of this is true.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep going. He gets back to the house, and it is one of the creepier scenes. He's staring out the window, and her face and hand just appear out of nowhere. And I almost jumped out of my skin. I thought I was going to die. I did not have a heart attack, but I thought I was going to. And as of now, he has Spider with him. Daly left Spider with him to, quote unquote, keep him company. Which, fine, I guess.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's just hella chilling. Like, the woman's outside still. Spider's, like, laid out like nothing. And he looks at this, what is it? It's like a spinning film. Is that what it's called or something?
Oh, yeah. No. So first he's walking around the house because he thought he saw something. So he's like following it. And I was like, yo, Daly specifically said, don't chase shadows. And then you chased all of the shadows.
Yes.
Yeah. So then he's got this, I can't remember what they're called, but it's like the thing where it's individual photographs, but when you spin it, it becomes a film and there's a name for it. And I don't remember what it is. And it just reminds me of Tarzan.
Yes. I did not know what, I couldn't remember what it was called either, but he spins it and then you just see her face flash up.
The eye effect in that spinning thing might be one of the greatest special effects I've ever seen.
Absolutely. It was so creepy. And that's the one that stuck with me the most. Like, for sure. Like, I mean, she's creepy in a lot of places.
She's creepy in a lot of places, but that one was like the one true jump scare in the movie, and it was done perfectly because he'd been seeing all these things and then they weren't there, and seeing these things and then they weren't there, and there was the whole face in the mirror things or in the window thing. So you kind of thought like there's just going to be another shadow, and then it fucking wasn't.
It was the most unexpected.
Yeah.
I felt like, for sure. And so then he's going through the paperwork when Spider starts barking. I really want to get through.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. While he's going through the paperwork, he's like looking at it and there's like scribbling all over all of this paperwork. And I was like, once you figured out that these papers were the ramblings of a mad woman, why did you not just immediately be done with it and say, okay, I've got the paperwork I need?
Right. I think because then he was invested. I think he got too curious. Curiosity killed the cat.
Facts.
Have you never heard that? I know this is the 1900s, but I'm pretty sure that's been around for a minute.
Yeah.
So what does that say? Oh, so I just kept like, it was like, she's behind you, because he kept being like, where is she? Where is she? And I was like, she's behind you. Like, why are you not around ever?
Yeah.
And then he decides to go wander the grounds because he hears something. Why?
Yeah.
So walking through the graves, and we see Nathaniel's grave, and then we see Jeanette's grave.
Now, the thing about Nathaniel's grave is that Nathaniel's grave says, son of Alice and so-and-so Draplow. And there are claw marks all across Alice's name. And that shit is fucked up.
Yup. If that doesn't tell you how she really feels.
Right. I was like, once you know the end of the story, that is absolutely makes sense. But also there's this terrifying moment there. Like, somebody was able to scratch those into granite, and that's what's chasing you. Good luck.
Yeah. You've got this. Probably. And so and he turns around and she's in the window. Of course. Because of course she's in the window.
Yeah.
Where else would she be?
Of course.
I was like, just do your job and go home, because he immediately goes back in and starts searching for her again. And yes.
Now, to be fair, when he goes back in and he starts rereading his papers, this was the one time where I was like, I get it. Because if I was reading tea that fucking messy about somebody's family, I would also stay to find everything out. Like, I want to believe that I would not run away, but that tea is piping.
I think I would leave. I do think I would take everything with me. Like, I need to know answers, but I am such a scaredy cat when it comes to stuff like that. I would not be able to stay there. But I absolutely would take all of the papers with me. No questions asked. I'm sorry, my computer's dying. Let me plug it in real fast. So then we finally get Jeanette's story.
Yes.
And it turns out she was Nathaniel's mother, who was then Alice, who was her sister, convinced everyone that she was crazy, which maybe. And Alice, and her husband was Charles.
Yeah, and also in the play, we get a little bit more context of the fact that Jeanette was unwed and knocked up and couldn't raise the kid. And so Alice took him initially to protect her sister.
Right.
Jeanette didn't take it that way.
Right. And in the film, it looks like Alice convinced everyone that she needed to be in a mental institute and she took her child. I mean, yeah, fair.
I mean, both of those things are probably true.
Yes, probably. And we learn in this version, she hung herself. Is how she died.
Yeah.
I don't think they stated it as clearly in the book or play. I think they just said that she died from a mental illness.
They did say that she took her own life because of mental illness, but they don't say how.
Yeah.
But you have that visual medium in the movie that you don't have otherwise, and it makes sense that she killed herself in the nursery.
Right. So, the last few scenes, like I've noticed there have been a lot of subtle changes in the lighting, the shadows, and it's just.
Also, this is the first time we really get the rocking chair sound, and I was thrilled.
Yep. And he's following the creaking, and we get the sound, and we don't know where it's coming from. And at this point, I said it's just like a horror version of Where's Waldo. He's searching for her, can't find her. I don't know why he's looking for her. Why are people looking for Waldo? No one knows. Let him live his life. Just let her live her life and to be gone. But
good luck with that.
Yeah, truly. I really wanted him to kick in the door, like police style. He did not. I knew he wasn't going to, because that would have been too intense for the scene.
Yeah.
But I would have laughed so hard. I don't know why, but just like that visual came to me. And so he goes to chase the shadows. And when he comes back with an axe or a hammer.
I don't remember.
Yeah, some tool to open the door is just open. So naturally, he goes in there, because that's what you do when a door opens. So
this is when I wrote, I swear the people in horror movies deserve to be killed.
Yes. And we learn it's the rocking chair making this noise. And I will say, as creepy as the scene of the rocking chair was, I think it was creepier in the stage play.
Because you couldn't see it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, and then eventually you could see the rocking chair rocking by itself, but you couldn't see the rocking chair in the play. So you just had this build up and build up and build up. And there was less build up in the movie. But I will say the like shot of her actually like hanging and dying and screaming definitely made up for the fact that the rocking chair wasn't as creepy.
Very much. Yes. I mean, you saw her face when the rocking chair went back one time. Her face was in it. That made up for it for me. Truly, anytime her face showed up, I was like, and there's the horror again. I'm still scared.
The scare effects in this movie are some of the most brilliant done, because they don't look cheesy. They don't look like they're obviously her face is obviously CGI'd into a lot of shit, but like it doesn't look fake. It looks terrifying.
It looks so real. I mean, it's done better than some horror movies I've seen the past couple of years, and this was 10 years ago.
Right.
And it was so creepy. Nothing ever felt illogical. which is they take a lot of leaps in horror, especially now, because they have all these crazy scenes and they
Yeah.
rely heavily on the supernatural and stuff like that, which is fine. That makes a fine movie. But this movie, the only thing is, do you believe in ghosts or not? That's the only thing it made a question. Everything else very clearly could have happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, if you believe in ghosts, angels, demons, whatever, like this movie could fit into so many people's belief or disbelief. Like even the highest skepticals could have a belief that follows up with this could happen type thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what also made it more terrifying, was that it was so realistic still. And so then he starts tearing off the wallpaper because he sees something under it, like a lunatic. And all these toys are going off around him. And I didn't write down it was one of the taglines.
Oh, what was on the wall?
Yeah, you didn't save him.
You could have saved him.
You could have saved him.
Yeah.
So all these toys are going off, and I was like, I don't know why they had this for children's toys, because as a child, those toys not going off by themselves, just being regular toys, would have terrified me.
Okay. And in the play, they also had a music box going off by itself, but the music box played like more lullaby music in the play, which was creepy enough. Right. This music box was a clown. Yeah. And B, played really happy music, and somehow that fucked me up even more.
Yes, it was not great for my mental health.
No.
Very scary.
Neither were the image of all the dead children standing outside the house while he tried to run away from the music box.
But before he runs out of the house, he's looking out the window and something is coming out of the mud. And I said, is that the woman or a small child? Because it's too far away to really make a distinction, I feel like. But
yeah, it was a small child, a muck baby.
Yes, that is a very bad title for child. But not incorrect. Just don't love it. So he starts hearing knocking on the door. The tide is over, or whatever, where you can't go through. So he's like, who is here? Is it this woman I keep seeing? And Spider's barking at the door, and it stops, and they start trying to open the knob. And it is like real trying to open the doorknob. Mm-hmm. This is terrifying. So naturally, he opens the door. It's like, why? Why would you ever open the door? You've been having all these crazy experiences. You've been seeing people outside, whether they're real or not. Why would you open the door?
To see all the dead muck babies.
Yes. And this is when he runs outside and sees all of the dead babies that have died because of the woman at work. And you see the girl who drank the lye. You see children that you don't recognize yet, but you'll recognize by the end. You see the girls.
The three girls. You see Daly's son.
Yeah, but I don't... Oh, you have seen him already, yeah.
Yeah, because we saw the painting of him.
We saw the painting, yeah.
Yeah.
So, very creepy. And this is a scene that they replaced a different scene with. And I thought this was a good choice, because the scene they replaced it with, that was replaced, was whenever Spider was barking at the door, and he opened the door and Spider ran out, and Spider gets caught in the sinking mud. And
I remember that in the play. Yeah.
He heard the screams and the horse again.
Yeah.
And Spider was sinking in the mud, and he had to pull him out. And while it was good for the play and great for the book,
it wouldn't have been good in the movie. It wouldn't have been high stakes enough.
Better use of your visuals.
Yeah.
But I am glad Spider is still there. Just almost dead. And then he goes back inside, and there are now footprints on the ground. Why don't we just run away? Well, now we have nowhere to go because we've opened the door to evil. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then the music box is going off again. I hate that for him. And then a small child just runs right past. I was like, nope, not good. And then we see the scene you're talking about where Jeanette hangs herself. And then I said it looks like a weeping angel's coming after him. It was a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that the angel would not have been as creepy if you haven't watched Doctor Who, probably, because I immediately went weeping angel.
Yeah.
And so then a mud creature is just coming out of the bed. And then Daly's there.
Yeah.
Because perfect timing. So he goes with Daly and he's telling him everything that happened, obviously.
Yeah.
And Daly's like, no, I don't think so. He's like, do you not believe me? And he was like, even the most rational minds can play tricks in the dark. And I was like, that is a lot of tricks for your mind to play.
A lot of tricks.
That is a lot. Like, you need to be in a mental institution if all of those things happened to you and it was all your mind.
Right.
Like, wild. And we get back and everything's on fire. It is just chaos. And Arthur recognizes as where Jerome lives and knows the girl's locked up downstairs. And Jerome's wife is yelling about her child and nobody will let her in. And so he just books it. He's like, this is my fault now, because he's decided it's his fault. And he runs in and runs downstairs. And the door is bolted still. And he's trying to break in because everything's on fire. And he finally gets in. He opens the door. He sees the girl and he's like, let me help you. And you see the woman in the side. She looks over. You see the woman in black. She looks back and just throws down a gasoline and just lights on fire.
That is probably one of the most vicious things I've ever seen in a movie. She just threw the kerosene lamp into the flames and engulfed herself.
As a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. And so I only have 2 pages left. I'm trying to make sure. I know we're going for like ages.
It's fine. We already warned people this was going to be a long episode.
We did. Now we're back at the dailies. And he's cleaning his face with what looks like dirty water. So I'm not sure how clean his face is getting. But that's fine. And then we learn that they just always lose children. He's talking to Mrs. Daly, who is explaining they're standing outside of the grave at this point. And she's telling him, how it goes. She's telling him how Nathaniel died. And then it turns out she actually is channeling her son. And he's like, she's coming. The woman is coming. And it is so scary. And poor Mrs. Daly is not a lunatic. She is just like possessed by a child. It is.
And in her possession drawing, like freaking out, she draws another picture. And this time the picture is the same picture that his son drew him.
Yes.
Which is fucking terrifying.
Yes. And this is also the first time anyone explained to him how the woman in black works. No one, like, they've left hints. They've said, like, don't go there. This is bad. Miss Daly's like, look, this is what happens step by step. And he's like, oh, I never would have gone. I was like, yeah, if you wouldn't have just shunned him when he walked into the town, none of this would have happened.
Correct.
And he decides that he knows how to fix everything and goes back to Ilmarsh. And this is the whole new scene from the book. It's very different from the book.
Yes.
Goes back to Ilmarsh and decides he's going to reunite the woman in black with her child.
Yeah, I think from here on out, we are completely not related to the book anymore.
Yes, I think you're correct. So he starts digging for this body. And
in this scene, okay, my notes about this scene were that for the first time in the whole movie, there's no music at all. And it was actually more terrifying. They have some incidental music as he gets closer when he finds the body, but he's digging through the mud and there's not an ounce of background sound. And it is even creepier than if there were music.
Yeah. And I was like, this scene must have been hard to shoot. Like, could not have been fun to shoot.
No.
But lo and behold, he finds the boy. And he so they dig out the boy and everything and take him inside. And he's setting him up on the bed to try and get him ready for the woman. And we go back to Daly, who starts seeing things in the shadows and, against his own advice, starts following the shadows.
Well, because he thinks it's his kid.
He thinks it's his son.
And I was like, you took up with a straight up loony, my dude.
Yeah. And so he walks into a room where he thinks his son is, and he gets locked in there. And Arthur has turned on all of the toys to, like, I guess, call her. And so she would come and see her child and stop killing everyone. And so he can't hear Daly screams. And she's at the end of the hall, and he's trying to, like, coax her in, and she's not coming. And then finally, she does. And at this point, even Arthur was like 0% fazed by the rocking chair. He, like, does not care. And I was like, okay, I'd still be creeped out, but fine.
Yeah.
And the visuals in this next scene, when all the lights start going out down the hall, and then it is just incredible. I loved that scene. I understand that probably wasn't the most difficult thing to do, but it was
done so well
that I really, really enjoyed it. And she just starts whispering and going around and saying, "Never forgive." I was like, okay, that's not good.
Well, no. So before that, what happens is she does find the kid, and there's this, like, scream, and it's freaky, and then all the lights go back on, and Arthur's like, "Oh, we did it. Everything is done. She's gone." And then the lights start going off, and you hear her voice, and you're like, "Oh, fuck."
Nope, it's not over. It's never over.
Never over.
So then he's rushing back to the train station because he's trying to get to his child so that he does not die, because that has been what's been predicted.
Yeah.
And the first train station's completely closed. And he's like, we're never going to make it in time.
Oh, this was to send a telegram to have them not come.
Yes.
The telegram was when it was closed, but that was before this. That was way before he ended up going to the train station.
Oh, you're right. And so now,
this time he does actually just go to the train station.
Right, to meet up with the nanny and his son.
Yeah.
And he's so excited. His son is there. Everything is fine. He's holding his hand. He's talking to Daly. He's getting ready to jump back on the train. The nanny's buying new tickets to head straight home. And then the most heartbreaking second, when his son lets go of his hand and he doesn't realize. And I was like, oh my goodness. And you have what feels like an eternity to see what's going to happen. But, like, this is probably a 30-second long scene that feels like I just watched for 2 hours waiting for what's going to happen.
Yep.
And it was so suspenseful and sad, even before you, like, knew what happened. And
the first time I saw this movie, this ending fucked me all the way up. Like, I could not believe what I had just watched.
So in the original test of this movie, this is a trivia fact I have for you. The scene ended with them dying. Point blank. They got hit by the train. End of movie. The test audiences said that was too disturbing.
Because it was.
It was. And that's why they had him reunited with his wife and the mother.
Which I liked. I don't think it was necessary, but I do like that it kind of, like, gave you some feeling of it not all being for naught.
I do like it, and I think it at least made me think about the woman in black a little more, because I was like, he reunited her with her son, and it felt like she was doing the same thing for him.
Yes. Except then there's one more scene.
Yes.
Well, okay, so in this scene, the suspenseful scene, there's so many things happening. The little boy is going to the train. The train is coming by. You see all the dead kids on the train. The woman is on the platform. The nanny is screaming. Sam is screaming. Arthur's running to get it. And there's this moment where everyone's crying. And then the train goes by and you don't see anything. And then you just see Arthur holding his son, and there's like a split second where you think he saved the kid and broke the curse. And then you see Stella, and you're like, no.
And it flashes over to the woman, and it looks like she's almost smiling, like, oh, they're reunited. And then her face just subtly changes.
Oh,
Like, are you trying to kill everyone? Are you trying to reunite this family because you were reunited? What are you here for? What is happening?
she'll never forget.
And that's the end.
Never forgive.
And that's how this movie ended. So I do want to discuss a little bit about the book and play ending instead.
Mm-hmm.
For moviegoers, this probably was the best ending.
Yeah.
It was devastating, but still a happy enough ending because he ended up with Stella.
And it also gave you enough suspense that you're not perplexed by the fact that there's another movie.
Right. But it has nothing to do, it's a whole different cast than this one.
Yes.
And so, like, it's fine. But in the book and the play, he doesn't have a child till after he's come back from Millmarsh. And he's still married to Stella, like we said. And everything is going smoothly. His son is 6 years old. Everything's fine. And one day they're out at the park in a horse and buggy on a ride. And instead of him dying, the woman in black shows up by a tree. And then the buggy rams into a tree and his son immediately dies.
Yeah.
And then 10 months later or something, his wife also dies. And so I think that is such a powerful scene because it gives you so much hope that it takes away, whereas you don't get the same hope in this movie. There's not ever a moment of hope, I would say, except that split second where you think he saved him.
Yeah.
But it's like a second. Where in this story, it's like, oh, we've gone through this whole story. We don't know that we don't know that his son died. We don't know that Stella died. We don't know all this stuff. And then we think that he's made it out and everything's fine. And the last scene is they both die. And it is devastating.
See, in the play, I think the scarier thing in the play is that Arthur has this stuff and he went through this and he saw all the stuff and his wife died and his son died and he just wants to get rid of this curse and he's stressed out about it. And then the saddest part of the play is the fact that the other guy, the actor, also sees the woman. So the curse isn't over.
The curse isn't over and no one gets a happy ending.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is they died, sure, but it's not like a sad ending for the movie. All in all, it is a kind of happy ending for a horror film. So everyone's reunited and there's the end of the tunnel look. And so there's just, so I miss that devastation at the end, but I get it.
Yeah.
Don't think it was the wrong choice.
Right.
It's so powerful in the play and the book.
Yeah.
So with that said, who did you want to punch in the face?
I mean, the woman, she sucks.
So I thought you were going to say that. Yeah. So I chose Sam Daly. I know I like him. I know I've said I liked him, but he's the one who kept taking him out to the house and wouldn't tell him the whole story. And if somebody would have just said something to him before the end, all of this could have been. And I feel like it was on Sam because Sam was the one telling him everything and telling him nothing was real.
That's true. I can see that.
That's why I picked Sam. Who's your MVP?
Is there one?
I did pick one. I know how to left.
I think my MVP will be Mrs. Gifford for being the only person to not shun him the second he walked into town without giving any explanation.
Truly. Fair. I picked Mrs. Daly because
that's fair.
That woman has been through everything. She's the only one who straight up told him everything.
Yeah.
Honestly, she's lost so much of her mind that I think had she been capable of telling him before, she would have.
Right.
She just couldn't physically and mentally do it herself, or she would have.
Right.
She's the reason that all of this got solved, even though it didn't end well per se. But it never would have been answered like without her. And she's been through so much. And
Yeah.
God bless her. So yeah, that's my thoughts. So I have some trivia. Did I discuss it all? Well, this is fun and scary. The sound of the doll laughing is the exact sound of Bill the puppet from Saw. They used the same sound in both movies.
I don't like it.
This is terrifying and would have been interesting. This one was originally planned to be done in 3D.
Oh, fuck that.
Wouldn't that have been?
Could you imagine the scene with his hand on the window and that face if that was 3D? Oh, fuck me. No.
Yep, I think I've already probably. Oh, I wrote down the monkeys' names. I did not know them. They're Mizaru, Kikazaru, and Iwazaru. The three monkeys that have the gold nose. Did not
know they had names.
I did not either. So I wrote them down. And there are some fun taglines from this movie that I will be posting on social media in the coming days.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that. This movie is excellent. It has a tie-in with all of our shows already. It has a tie-in with Bates, which made it feel like it fit perfectly.
Yeah.
We have such insight into the show because we've seen all the different versions of it. Yeah. Other than, I do want to go back and watch the original, like the first.
Yeah, I've never seen the 1989 movie. I would need to see that. But
if you know where to watch it and you've seen it, you should let us know.
Yes.
Do you have any final thoughts about this movie?
I love it.
I also love it. It was a good one.
Yeah.
If you have any suggestions for our next horror movie season break, you're welcome to send them throughout the next season. And if not, I will come up with something else I want to watch. You can send us that information. Tell us your thoughts. If you hated the movie, tell us why. You can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all of social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CECloud13.
And you can find me at EMKAY_superstar.
And we will see you for Sci-Fi Sunday.
Bye.